I will miss you, DCEU. You've been part of my life since I was 12. Now a new chapter begins. Okay. So this is my first review. Also, this will be my first base review as well. But I've been making a bunch of reviews via IMDb being written. But this will be my first video review. So let's get the show on the road. So I saw Superman last Friday. This was my getup, basically, from that day. I just got out of watching James Gunn's Superman and the official start of the DCU, with its second entry, that being Creature Commandos. My thoughts of the film are unique. I enjoyed a ton of aspects of this film. However, there are some issues with the film. That being said, I think this was an intriguing, solid entry into the DCU. Currently, I've had a bit of difficult time trying to write this review as I transition from the prior DCEU to its pseudo rebirth. However, time goes on, and I wish we could have gotten a sequel of Henry Cavill's version. I was hopeful and worried about this film's release. We got the trailer, and it looked promising, but I was still concerned about this interpretation would bring. Now that I've seen it, here's my review. The film itself is a visual feast bursting with color, vibrancy, and mysticism. It introduces a plethora of interesting characters that populate this new world. Characters like Mr. Terrific, Eddie Gatenay, Guy Gardner, Nathan Fillion, Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, Metamorpho, Anthony Cardigan, Ultraman, the Engineer, Maria de la Faria, and the Hammer of Boravia. As the film unfolds, it weaves a complex web of multiple storylines, keeping the audience engaged and intrigued. The film serves as a powerful reminder of the concept of hope, a notion that often gets lost in our society. However, the film's extensive plot can make it a bit disjointed, yet for those familiar with DC Comics or the DC's filmography, this film is a treasure trove of DC mythology, not shying away from its rich lore. The film's political storytelling is robust, delving deep into the political intrigue surrounding Kal-El's journey on Earth. It introduces us to the conflict between Boravia and Genepe, using it as a metaphor for the real-world disputes of Israel and Iran, and more recently Iran. The film presents us with multiple scenes that depict the Boravian president's dehumanizing view of the Janipurian people. While I wished the film delved into the politics and showed more of the Janipurian country, the political narrative is thought-provoking aspect of the film. However, I feel the film's approach to Superman origin was to tell rather than show us. I want an extended cut of this film because it explores the importance of humanitarianism and showcases the theme of humanity and kindness throughout. The film also features several moments showcasing Superman's kindness, including saving the smallest of creatures. I believe this film significantly expands on the meaning of Superman, highlighting the challenges and versatility of human kindness. The acting is well done, especially to a newcomer of David Cornsweet's acting work and interpretation as Superman. It was absorbing to see his interpretation of someone who wants to guide humanity towards kindness and humanity. However, I do wish we got to see his parents a lot more. Both Ma Neville Howell and Pa Kent Pruitt Taylor Vince, and Laura Angela Sarafran and Jor-El Bradley Cooper. Especially for the runtime this film has for 2 hours and 10 minutes. Their placement for Superman's story is integral to his place in the universe. This film teased it towards us, suggesting there must be an extended cut that gives us time and importance to Kal-El's life. I also know that Superman is a new character to the world, striving to do good in the world. David's acting in the film feels like Clark Kent Superman. The charisma and the mannerisms are there, especially when he is in combat. However, I cannot shake the feeling that there is more to his backstory than what we as an audience have been given, especially with his Kryptonian parents, who barely appear in the film. The questions must be answered. I find Lois and Clark's romance enjoyable, not just how they met, but also their relationship and what keeps it strong. However, I think newcomers might feel it's rushed how they got together. Lois Lane is a fun, witty, and has a ton of charm to her character, and is the Lois Lane we have in past iterations. Still, I feel there's more to her character. Explaining why she's hesitant to be with Clark or why she's troubled by the idea of a relationship. The film has so many storylines, and I highly recommend turning off your phone to pay attention to every detail. The story is complex. You could say it's a film that delves into the comics, where a lot is happening and being woven together, making it intricate, intelligent, and even maddening to the naked eye. I believe that for newcomers who haven't read the comic, that will be a difficult pill to swallow, and they will struggle to understand the lore, especially with the back and forth of other side plots. If someone isn't following the story, they can get easily lost. I enjoyed Mr. Terrific and Guy Gardner in the film, especially with their back and forth banter. Mr. Terrific delivers an impressive mic drop scene, and carrying the weight of one of the smartest characters in the DC universe with his T-spheres. Even if the film somewhat jokes around with his personality. And I'm excited to see more of his character in future installments. As for Guy Gardner, he plays it to perfection as a compassionate douche, which is his character. However, I am hopeful that we can see more of his interpretation of him, especially since Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are featured in the upcoming Lantern show coming in the future. I'm excited to see what Nathan Fillion brings to that role. As for Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, I feel her presence could have been amplified by the incorporating of her powers and history into the larger Hawkman Hawkgirl storyline. The same is applied to Metamorpho, where I feel like he needed more screen time to show how he got captured by Lex Luthor. However, I did enjoy him now being part of the Justice Gang, which most likely will become the Justice League later on, once Batman gets involved. The film's music is unique, blending scores of John Williams from the 1978 film, David Fleming, and John Murphy's with this new score. I am hopeful that the score will evolve in the following films. Overall, the film is going to be a surprise to many people. Yes, this is the first film that heads into the mysticism of Superman and his dog, Krypto the Superdog, and the Superman robots. The film features engaging fight scenes, along with a good amount of quiet moments that lend the film a serious tone at times. And the added humor provides a bit of levity. It's also the first film to center around the relationship between Lex Luthor, Nicholas Hoult, and Superman, and exploring their dynamic of brains versus sympathy, or brains versus brawn. This is also the first film where we see Jimmy Olsen, Skylar Gianlano, to be an integral part of the Daily Planet's entourage. My issues with the film are that it feels rushed into introducing a new universe. Rather than introducing each character one at a time before establishing a settled universe. However, James Gunn did mention multiple times that this interpretation would be set in a world of gods and men and gods and monsters. However, I feel like our first entry is like jumping into the middle of the universe, which is both good and a bad thing. But I'm excited to see what happens next. Overall, I think this is a really good start to the DCU. And I'm intrigued by seeing Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And that this film, if it continues to push and make us, the audience, think and persevere towards a better future, I give Superman an 8 out of 10. I'm just hopeful.